Hello and welcome to the second annual day of EdTech Society. My name is Briju Tangachan. So it's a very wonderful day today. That all you have joined today. So we have a very good sessions in front of us. So so this is this program schedule for today. So we will be um, um, moving towards these items as you can see. So I will be starting with the welcome message. Okay, so the main goal of EdTech Society is to um, bring together education, technology, and society. I think 1 second. I think we have a. Let me remove the slide. 1 minute. Um, didn't upload it. Okay. So uh, so before we get into the main items. So let me welcome the chief guest. Let me ask Dr. Sridhar here to the stage to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Kannan.
Thank you, Briju. Professor Kannan Modgalya is a distinguished professor at IIT Bombay, and the rest of it I will speak once he is on the stage.
Okay. So let me add.
So, welcome, Kannan. He did his BTech from IIT Madras way back in 1980 and PhD from Rice University in 1985. So, that's his chemical engineering life, which I really know nothing about. My interaction with Kannan has been mostly in education technology. He has been the Iraq and Mehru Mehta Advanced Education Technology Professor at IIT Bombay. And right now, he is also Emeritus Fellow. So, the way I got to interact with Kannan was when MHRD started the National Mission on Education through ICT, NME ICT as it was called. And Kannan was the overall coordinator for IIT Bombay. And there were like 5 or 6 mega projects that various of us were running. And Kannan was effortlessly coordinating everything, going to MHRD, Delhi, once a week, twice a week, whatever it takes. And that's the kind of dedication that really needs to be appreciated. And one of his own projects was the spoken tutorial project. Many of you may know that the spoken tutorial project has been going on for a long time. It started with training people in the use of various free and open source software, and it has branched out to many things like nursing education and many other aspects. So welcome, Kannan. And let me just quickly tell you what's going to happen today. Today we will have, this is the annual day of the EdTech Society. It's a 2-year-old society. So there are various subcommittees in the society, and we will have the chairs of the subcommittees, come and present their annual report in front of you. So you are kind of like the examiner for us. Okay, so you will listen to that and give your reactions. You can ask questions of the people who are presenting, or you can also ask tougher questions to me when I come back later at the end of the presentation. So with that, welcome, and Briju, we can move on to the next step. Okay, I think there is some delay.
Okay, so let me start with just a brief, mission of the annual report. So then we will go from there. So the mission of the EdTech Society is to provide a leadership within India and internationally, and to make a meaningful integration of technology in education. So these are some of the goals of the organization. And so as you can see, this organization, it's based on the leadership from the executive committee members, as you can see in the list, and the chairs, the committee chairs. So they were working very hard, and last 1 year, and so because of their effort, the organization it's moving forward. And so just to want to give a comparison about what happened last year to this year. So last year we had total number of events. There were about 9 events, and but this year, and from March 2020, April 2023 to March 2024, we had 13 events plus the T4E 2023 we had conducted. Then the last year, this time we had around 90 members, but this time we have around 386 members. So the LinkedIn followers also last year it was 440, but this year it is 922. So we have the channel subscribers. Last year it was 1993 for our YouTube channel, but now it's around 390, 309. So this is just a comparison. So now let me invite all the committee chairs one by one. They will be sharing their presentations now. So let me move back. Okay, so let me first introduce Sariga to the stage. As Sariga will be sharing is the membership community program committee chair. So Sariga, please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. So the program committee is responsible for developing and implementing the EdTech Society's program. Next slide, please. I, Dr. Sarika Chauhan, serves as the chair of the program committee, and the other members are Krishna Kanta Roy, Sugat Dabolkar, Ramdas Rai, and Gomti Sundarraj. Next slide, please. So we conduct series of events dedicated to enhancing technology, like monthly masterclass, an expert talk with teaching goals, perspective, a panel discussion on current educational technology topics, in focus interview for exploring personal journeys, and industry talk where representatives from industry share the academic and research aspects of their products, focusing on educational technologies pedagogies. Next slide, please. So we have conducted 8 masterclasses, 2 in-focus interviews, 1 industry talk, and 2 perspectives from April 2023 to March 2024. Next slide, please. Yeah. So these events are generally free for our EdTech Society members, and the recordings are uploaded on EdTech Society's YouTube channel. Next slide, please. This is our yearly calendar from April 2024 to March 2025. More details will be sharing soon on our website, and the participants can register for these events. So join us for our series of events dedicated to enhancing educational technology. Thank you. Over to you, Briju sir.
Sarika, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
Uh, I want to know whether there is any underlying theme that you have in these programs. In this, so are they? They seem to be covering all areas. Is there any focus area? That is one question I have. The other question I have is, what is the impact of these programs? One is you have, for example, you talked about. Can you go back to the previous slide?
Briju sir, please.
Yeah. So average view duration is 7.12, and then impressions click through rate is 0.8%. What does it mean?
Yeah.
0.8.
So, sir, So, sir, here actually, average rate, it means, generally these programs are live, right? We do it online, and it is live on YouTube channel, right? So very few people uh, used to be there during the live sessions, but we upload these recorded sessions on our YouTube. So generally this is the statistics which we have gathered from our YouTube channel, where you can see this is the overall. We have not this is the overall rate you can see for all our program till date. And we have analyzed these things for our individual programs as well. So this is generally the average rate where the people go and watch our videos
So
on
let
our
me
YouTube.
ask you, is 7.12, is that minutes? Is that considered a good thing?
Uh,
Is it average view duration? View means it is some time duration. Is it
yes.
5.12 seconds or 7.12 minutes? What is it? And what is generally considered good? That is my question.
Yeah, sir, actually the duration of our program is 1 hour, right? So if you will see, this is not that duration is not that good. The average, this is the average rate. So maybe people are might be interested, so they may watch only that particular the section, or that particular
No,
event.
I'm not complaining. I'm not saying that it is too low. What I want to know is, for a similar program,
Hmm.
what is the number? Is it better than average or is it worse than the average? That is something you may want to find out. To
Okay,
say
sir.
that 7.512, is it good enough? Or do you want to do it slightly better? Okay.
Yeah, better, of course,
The
better.
other thing is, people may just keep it on and then do other things. They may not even watch that. So these are other issues that one has to worry about. So that's the reason why I said, what is the impact? Maybe some other analysis may be required. That's all. But
Yes,
otherwise,
sir.
you're doing very
Yes.
well. Programs have
uh,
improved. Happy for
yeah.
you. Congratulations.
Sir, one thing I would like to add over here, especially for the YouTube live, what we have done is, to, as you are talking about the tension and the participants, those who are serious about this particular program and whether they are watching or attending or not. Especially for the live audience, we used to keep the quiz. So after attending that particular session, there is a feedback form. Along with the feedback form, there is a quiz based on that particular topic. So the participants, they attend, those who have registered and attended, they get that these particular quiz in their dashboard through our website, their login, EdTech Society login, and then they appear for these. They attempt these quizzes. So for that, the results which I can tell you about the average results of the quizzes and all. It's good, but yes, of course, we need to improve on these statistics.
No,
Definitely.
I'm not saying that improve. I'm saying you should have you know, uh, a better feel for it. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, it may already be good, but I just want you to find out what that is.
Okay, sir. I'll do
Oh,
that. Yeah. Thank
yeah, thank you.
Hi everyone, good evening. Hi Professor Kannan, good evening. My name is Richin. I am chairing the membership committee. Membership committee, we stand for basically the member growth, retention, and improving member satisfaction. And our membership committee consists of around 4 members, including me. And these are the membership committee members. And next slide, please. And our members include education technology researchers, PhD students, school teachers, higher education faculty, education technology industry professionals, and educational administrators. Uh, Next slide. So as of now, we consist of student and professional membership. These are the two membership types we have. And we have around 386 members as of April 25th, 2024. So these are the basic insights of the membership data. This is a country-wise membership representation and state-wise. We can see we have members from USA, UK, Germany, Mauritius, Canada, and Japan, and also from different parts of the country we have representation. So these are just the basic insights of the membership data. And looking back last year, we have conducted membership drives. We can see that the comparison from 90 members to we have around 300 plus members now. And we have already worked on a quarterly newsletter called Connected. This will be shared with all the members. As a membership committee member, we try to come up with a newsletter which is connecting to all the members, and so that they can be informed with what we are doing, and plus what's happening as a whole. And we will be handing over the newsletter to the communications committee from the next year onwards, so that they can take it forward. And we already initiated a featured member initiative last year. This is to recognize our members who are participating actively in our society. So we proudly announced our first featured member, Ms. Daisy Wadhwa, who is an assistant professor and HOD at Guru Nanak Khalsa University, Punjab, and she's an ardent practitioner, and she actively participated in all our events. And out from the nominations, the committee has selected Ms. Daisy Wadhwa. So looking forward, we are planning to come up with institutional membership. We are in process of planning the policy for the institutional membership, where we provide an opportunity for the organizations and other institutions like higher education students, schools, NGOs to be part of the society. And membership profile, we also plan to create membership profile based on the data available with us. We plan to create domain-based membership profile so as to conduct online enclaves and local chapters, which will help the community members to connect, network, and to share their professional and research works together. And we also plan to have inclusive feedback. We seek feedback from the members to understand what they expect out of the society and how we can meet the expectations from the society point of view. And as I already discussed, we have a data segmentation plan we are going ahead with, where we analyze the data and come up with domain-specific membership, and to draw more insights from the data to cater well to the members of the society. That's it from the membership.
So I have a few questions. One is,
Sure.
so there is there a concept of also life membership? Of course, it may be too early to do that.
Yes.
But
as of now, I don't think we have. We are planning to come up with a life membership.
All right. The other thing is, unless people perceive some benefits in becoming a member, they will not want to become a member. Okay.
Understood.
So you have articulated those. For example, you say that there are student members and there are also professional members. So
Yes.
professional members will look forward to something, and whereas the students will
Yes.
look forward to something else. For students, one of the most important reasons is to get in touch with professionals and possibly to get a job, for example. So this is something that is well articulated. And the other thing is, who are all your potential targets? Because education technology is not offered everywhere. So it may be computer science. It may be, in fact, almost everybody in higher education, all college teachers, for example, they may be interested. Many of them may be interested in pursuing higher studies. Okay. So you can actually think of, so what would you call them? Somebody who is a college teacher, that means they are not a student, but they are going to become a student because they may want to go for a PhD, because many of them may not have a PhD. Is there a separate role for them? Is there a separate membership for them? Is there separate, let me say, hand holding for them, which will benefit them? So I think you're doing very good, because the numbers have gone, membership has gone up 4 times. And other thing is, what percentage of your operational cost is covered by membership, and do you need to raise a lot more money, for example, through corporate funding or sponsorship or something like that? That is another thing one has to keep in mind. And you may also want to compare EdTech Society's membership vis-a-vis some of the other established societies like IEEE, ACM? How do they work? So that will give an idea of where to go. And that's all I have.
Sure.
Thank you.
Noted. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Good evening. My name is Shrunika. Hello, everyone. I'm the chair of the Communication and Outreach Committee. Could we go to the next slide, please? Right. So our members are Mr. Partha Konwar, Mr. Nagesh Pokle, and Ms. Shraddha Rawat. And I take this opportunity to thank them and all our other committee members for their input and their enthusiasm. On the next slide, please. And on our second annual day, I take this opportunity in your presence, sir, and in front of all of our members today to launch our Facebook page. I request those of you who are watching on YouTube, if you could probably take a screenshot of this and then scan the code or find the page later, and you can start connecting with us through Facebook also. Next slide, please, sir. Otherwise, most of our participation as of now comes from social media outlets, come from LinkedIn and Instagram. Again, the QR codes for the same to join us there are on the screen now. So if you would like to take a screenshot and then use that to join us later, that would be great, where we would be sharing snippets of what events we are going to have in the future and snapshots of what have happened in the past, announcements of events, and even posts from featured members of the month. Can you go to the next slide? Looking back, we've used the last few months to have on board a social media manager with whose help we are streamlining content and communication within the committees with internally, so as to make sure that the flow of information and the activities of all the committees are taken to the general public outside, and also outward facing communication. So we also have started work on drafting our communication policy, creating a design document that will kind of unify and bring out our vision of how we want our communication to look like in terms of colors, elements, designs, and so on and so forth. Thanks to the input of various committee members and other stakeholders. To the next slide, please. Looking ahead, as you know, we are launching our Facebook page, and as Richin said earlier, we will be taking over the newsletter as well from today onwards to kind of take it forward with every quarter, bring out new content every quarter, and add try and make it as useful as possible and as informative as possible for our members. We're also in the near future, looking to branch out into other forms of content. As of now, we rely on visual and text-based content on most of our social media platforms. But now we realize the strength that we have with our YouTube channel, and we want to kind of branch out into more into video content and audio content as well, and try to find ways to disseminate research that our valued members have put in. So that is our plan for the coming year, sir.
Okay, Shrunika, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Regarding the social media posts and so on, have you undertaken any organized campaign?
Yes.
To promote any particular activity, and what are the main what is the most important part of such a campaign?
So right now we're still starting. As of now, we got our social media manager, and we put together these visions and for our social media in the month of February. So right now we are in the process of putting together a campaign for T4E, which is really our flagship event. And we could say that the the annual day event and promoting the annual day event was kind of our practice run, if you will, where we got together, figured out how to promote it and how to make posts around it. And we sort of have a rough idea now, and I think we're ready to, given that we have more time also for T4E, I think our first full-fledged campaign will be for T4E. So, and for the most important aspect of that, we're looking at, again, getting tidbits in the form of video. We see that gets more engagement from previous iterations of the event, and see how we can give prospective participants of this year T4E 2024 a kind of taste of what awaits them.
So one related question is, how do you know whether, of course, you said that you are just starting this activity by recruiting a manager and so on. So that means in an organized way, you are just beginning to do this. But I wanted to know whether you have any thoughts on, how do you decide whether a campaign is effective? For example, if you take T4E, will you say that one of the objectives of this T4E is to have more membership, more members attending, more students attending, more people attending, more papers being submitted, more papers getting accepted? So would you say that some of these things will be the impact, the way to assess the impact? And if so, have you thought about it?
Yes, sir. So be it within the committee, within the team, and with the executive committee during the special meeting and even afterwards, we were discussing the metrics of success, what it looks like for us to check whether and how far our messaging has reached the general public. So we're putting together. So it starts off with even the number of people who fill out the response forms, the number of people who reply to those posts asking for more information. And of course, when it comes to T4E, I think, as you said, one of the metrics will be how many people, the increase in signups and the increase in number of paper presenters. But it is not without caution, because as the EC also kind of insisted that we must kind of proceed with caution when it, in terms of when we're looking at numbers of paper presenters and so on and so forth, to make sure that quality is still kind of maintained. But it's definitely, yes, sir, it's one of our metrics for success.
And then the other thing is, have you thought about this, the newsletter?
Yeah.
Of course, I could have asked this question to the previous presenter also. But if you are going to bring out one every quarter, then how much effort is required? And do you have enough people who will sustain it? Because it is going to be a challenging task to get this thing done. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, sir. So we have spoken to, we had a handover meeting recently. We spoke to Richin to kind of figure out their intentions behind it, because there is already an editorial team, and we spoke to them to kind of figure out what their intentions were and what they, what is the kind of output they wanted. And as we're still kind of fine tuning it, as the first issue goes out, and we're awaiting feedback from our members as well, to see how we can make sure that it's better in the next iteration when it goes out for the next quarter. I think we'll have more with the feedback that we get. I think we'll be able to work on the iteration also, the next iteration also. But for now, it looks like we've, based on the handover meeting, it looks like we have a clear idea as to what they want, and as of now, it looks manageable, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Shrunika.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Ajita, who is going to lead the training and mentoring committee. And on the next slide, we will see the numbers and the the names of the members. I'm sorry for this, and I really hope that there is no noise, external noise here. So, what do we do as a committee? We offer training and mentoring to external organizations because lots of organizations are in need of FDPs, 1 day, 3 day, 5 day, even longer. So, that is where we feature in this vertical features. And on the next slide, if we can have, these are the members who help to keep the vertical working up and running. That is Dr. Sophia Gayakwad from Symbiosis Pune, Dr. Vijay Ramaraju from Gokaraju Rangaraju Institute of Engineering and Technology, Hyderabad, and Firoza Karmali from IIT Bombay. So all of us together handle this particular vertical. And on the next slide, we will just see what things we have done in 1 year since we have done this. So there are a few transitions which will need clicks one by one. So first, what we did was training and mentoring policy we finalized as to when do we accept and on what criteria do we accept the FDP calls. Then the next point would be we have also decided the trainer eligibility, that who will be the eligible or considered eligible to offer trainings as a trainer. And then the third point that we have is we have managed to create a pool of trainers across domains and across regions, and this pool gets updated very frequently. Very recently, as we can see on the next slide, in the month of March, we just finished one offline training session, which was actually a multiple session program, which was on assessments because the institute was getting autonomy. So they wanted assessments and the course outcomes and program outcomes mapped. So we just finished this in the month of March. And now looking forward, as usual, on the next slide, we have a couple of things coming up. Like we have offline program FDP being offered in the month of June and December for one particular institute, which is going to be on tools of assessment and engagement. There's one more that is coming up, which would be in the online mode. Again, that is in June. That's again for assessment and engagement. And one that's a longer one. Throughout the year, we have got it for hybrid, where they are looking at e-content development. So that is what we are looking forward to. And we're looking forward to more, actually.
Yeah. So, how much effort is required in organizing these?
Yeah, quite a bit. Yes,
okay.
Quite a bit.
And this trainer seems to be some kind of certification, right? Certification, if not, I mean, if I'm using the word loosely, but basically you're saying that somebody has to be qualified and so on.
Yes.
So what criteria do you use to?
So this is just like, I'll not give out the entire criteria because it's in the policy, but still we have to have people who have taken certain number of sessions on that particular topic, either in the offline mode or in the online mode, and then they would be eligible to conduct those sessions. And they have to, of course, be members of EdTech Society. They have to have done their LCM course, and other tick marks are there in the checklist.
What is an LCM course?
The learner-centric MOOC course.
Okay. So that's a yardstick. If they have done it, they have done it well.
Yeah, because what we are trying to see here is how well versed people are with learner centricity, because we don't want the one-way type of the FDP that's run of the mill. We really want trainers who are more interested in conducting activities and workshop method and keep learner centricity as the focus.
Okay, so the other thing that I can think of is the number of programs seems to be very small.
The ones that we have received?
Yeah, I mean the one that you showed, 2 or 3, 4, I don't know how many. Do you have some numbers of the programs conducted? Are there many?
No. We have conducted, but then during the policy, it was decided that we should be taking up like 3 days, 5 days, 1 week, because earlier we used to conduct even for like a day or so. but then considering lots of other parameters that institutions have for the FDPs to be counted for, then we thought it is better that we put in the efforts for a longer duration ones. We are not averse to shorter ones, but 3 days, 5 days, 1 week, 15 days, 1 month.
Because the faculty number of faculty development programs
Okay.
required, I think because considering the size of our country, and there are not many people doing it, and yours is the first society, there seems to be a need for scaling up some of these activities. That is something that I would want you to think about. Of course, quality is important, but I think because if you look at it, even at the school level, we say that every teacher should undergo 50 hours every year. So you're talking about a very large number of teachers to be, going through some, not necessarily from EdTech point of view, not EdTech per se, but the requirement of FDP seems to be quite a bit. And so, given that EdTech society has the technology, one can think about ramping it up without affecting the quality. That's the only comment.
Yes. We're keeping our fingers crossed to get a larger pool also, so that we can scale it up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, Professor Kannan. Hello, everyone. So I am Ashwin TS. I am the internship chair for the EdTech Society. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, I will just tell. So this has executive committee member, Dr. Kapil Kadam, and I. We both actually do the internships. We handle the internship committees. We have wide range of internships, which are scaling from not just the domain experts of skills of engineering, but also we conduct a lot of studies. We do a lot of stuff. So internships are, types of internships are different. Next slide, please. So if you can, yeah. So we conduct a lot of we have a variety of internships available. So now we have two types of internships which are given. One is individual, another one is by group, like organization, NGO, and so on. So in the type A internship, we have basically EdTech Society members who can be a faculty, a senior graduate student, or a postdoc or something. If they have a idea about whether they want to get it done with that particular idea, they can actually call for the internship. And if the mentee is available, so then they can apply for the internship. So there is specific guidelines on the policy where actually who can provide the internship when it is individual. So similarly for the organization. So if the organization calls for the internships, then it will be facilitated by the EdTech Society. So these are the two types of internships we have. Next slide, please. Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, we have several types of internship. So it's not just about the skills of engineering or skills of EdTech. It's also about other things as well, like planning logistics. So there is operational support sort of internships. We have content creation based internships, and also we have marketing and outreach internships as well. So based on the availability at that particular point of time by either the organization or by the individual, we actually call for the internships. And this, we already conducted a successful internship program in 2023, which was actually offered by Professor Sridhar Iyer himself. And it was facilitated by EdTech Society. And mentors were myself and Dr. Kapil. We conducted this for 57 students in the engineering undergrad students at the KIT college in Maharashtra. Next slide, please. So this actually went well, but in this we had only 3 people who are contributing significantly to this. We want to revise this model by adding more number of evaluators, more number of presenters, and so on, so that this can be done very smoothly. So you can see this, the projects are like addressing local issues with global solution sort of things, where actually they use the state-of-the-art thing to address the problem that is quite driven in the Marathi local language NLP sort of thing. Next slide, please. Yeah, so we have significant sort of learning which came out of those internships. We have few papers got presented in the T4E conference as well. The mentor, Dr. Kadam, and the students who actually presented at the T4E, and other students who attended for few set of students who attended out of 57 in the T4E. And next slide. So this you can see by Professor Sridhar Iyer, they are interacting with them and then trying to get more knowledge out of it when they came to the T4E conference. Yeah, I think that's it from my side.
Ashwin, I have, it's a wonderful thing, very important what you are trying to do, because the internship is extremely important for students, for example. What I want to know is the internship conducted at IIT Bombay, or for example, or in remote locations, or in other words, is it done in person or is it done online?
Yes. So we have all the options. So in person, online, and hybrid. This particular internship was actually done like hybrid sort of thing, where student used to sit in a particular place for particular set of hours every week, and the mentor who is present in the local university used to take care of that. That was Dr. Kapil. And then all the evaluations, all the weekly updates, and all those things were done online. The evaluator was online, and even the interactions happened online. So this was hybrid. So in the policy, we have made this option. They can opt to which one they want to. So if they want like offline sort of thing, then actually the one who provides the internship, right, the one to ask for the internship, they have to take care of all those things. That is in the policy. If they want to do it hybrid or online sort of thing, so it's based on them. So we have the options to do all these things, all three things. And majorly, since internship has become like mandatory now, we have kept it for 2 to 3 months duration and a group based internship. Since it's a group based internship, so we don't force them to do it offline in a particular place all the time, because they will do going after home and all those things. So we just kept the policy as flexible as possible, so they can do it, because it will be the holiday time. That's why. Yeah.
Okay. In internship, there can be two major benefits I can think of. One is the students get some training in some chosen area. That is one. The other one is just the sake. It is for the sake of learning. The other one is they can all get together and contribute to some problem solving. For example, they can create some content, or they can solve a problem, things like that.
Yes.
So which one? In other words, you can say, I'm going to start with, I want to solve this problem. So I'm going to look for people who are capable of solving, and then get them and do that. As opposed to some people say that, no, and so you have to identify whether the person whom you are selecting is suitable for solving that problem. So they are selected as interns. Okay.
Correct.
As opposed to saying that, no, I'm going to take some best students or whoever is interested, and I'm going to see if anything will come out. What approach are you taking?
So it's rightly pointed out. I think I missed that point. In this internship, which was done in KIT, it's actually more of a learning internship, where we provided resources, we provided problem statement, and also we provided a solution as well. The main purpose of this internship is to learn it, how to learn. So for that, we gave an extensive amount of time, which is more than 2.5 months. And if somebody is capable of completing in that, for them, actually, we shared the standard data sets or the data sets which from the education domain, which we already have in open source. And then they tried to solve that. So this was one case. There was other case of the internship as well, where actually from the IIT Bombay, it's an individual one, where they posted that this particular set of problem statements we are providing. So there we needed a skilled person itself to solve the problem. For that, we had a different selection criteria. For this one, we had different selection criteria. So we had both. So the major number, the 57 student one, is actually the one which is more of a learning than actually improving the skills which they already had. Yeah.
Okay, so that is something, because the number of students who would want internship is actually enormous.
Yeah.
Because it is almost mandatory in most places that they have to do an internship.
Correct.
So if you, it'll be useful to come up with a good way of doing it, because you can also produce something out of this.
Yes, I totally agree. We will yeah, we'll find out better ways for that as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Hi everyone, my name is Shitanshu, and I happen to be one of the co-chairs of T4E 2023. So this is one of our flagship events that we have been having for the last almost more than 1 decade now. And last year, maybe next slide, please. Yeah, last year we tried to expand the scope, diversify the scope of T4E. So previously it was T4E, technology for education. We expanded it to a technology for, of, in, and across education. So it was an attempt to make it more comprehensive in terms of kind of research that we like to contribute. So it happened after a gap of 3 years. So it was really a challenging task last year, and rebooting everything altogether was a big thing. But still, we uh, did really well. I would say we got some 200 plus participants presenting. We got 20 full papers accepted, 63 short papers accepted, plus 14 poster presentations. And then there were 3 keynote talks, 7 workshops. Then other new things were included that were about teaching practices. So where teachers come in and share their teaching practices. So out of several teaching practices submission, we screened them, and a few of them got opportunity to be showcased. And then industry demos were there, and panel discussions were there. So there were also there were 80 plus scholarship given to the teachers. So we managed to get good support for the participants. Uh, at the end, I would like to say that we thank to all the participants, authors, presenters, industry experts, NGOs, and volunteers for having a successful T4E 2023 last year. Moving to next slide. Yeah, so these are a few pictures from the conference that may give us some feel of what we have been doing at VMCC ID Bombay. So this was 2023. Now moving to 2024. 2024 is going to be hosted by IIT Gandhinagar, and the website has already launched. It's etsociety.org/T4E 2024. Next slide. So now special things to mention for this edition of the conference are, in addition to the previous themes, which were around developing technologies, evaluating technologies for education, and understanding the learning sciences, how people learn, then pedagogical strategies, interventions, and also talk what EdTech can do towards access and scale and sustainability. We have introduced new themes for this year, which includes relationship between culture, technology, and education. Then we have also proposed out of school learning, and then education. So out of school learning is more about informal learning, and then education for sustainable development goals, and then relationship between technology, democracy, and education. So these are the new themes, and everyone is invited to submit across these themes and make the next version of T4E more richer. So important dates to be noted are June 23rd, which would be the submission abstract submission deadline, and June 30th would be paper submission deadlines. So abstract submission objective is to look into the relevance of your submissions with respect to the conference themes, and all those whose abstracts will be aligned to the themes will expect them to take 1 more week to submit their full papers. And the conference dates have been decided to 6th to 8th December, and 6th to 8th December at IIT Gandhinagar. So maybe you can note these information. Next slide. Yeah, so organization includes Professor Sridhar Iyer and Professor Maga Chang agreed to be general chairs. Uh, I, along with Aditi and Andreas, are going to be the program chairs. Next slide. Yeah, thanks. If you have any question about the previous or coming conference, I would be happy to answer.
Yeah, Shitanshu, I have a few questions. Happy that you could start T4E again after a gap of 3 years. It's always difficult to restart if it doesn't happen for some time. So, how was it compared to the previous T4E? You said 200 participants and so on and so forth. Are the numbers comparable to the previous one, or was it a lot better because it wasn't? It didn't happen for 3 years. A lot of people came forward. What is?
Yeah, so the first impression that most of us got from this year's last conference was this time it was very much diverse, and you could see different stakeholders from different sectors. So previous versions had participants from academia. Most of the time they were action researchers, teachers, and other researchers and co-researchers, right? So this year, in addition to these cohorts, we also had people enthusiasts who are working in NGOs and but still doing some rigorous evaluations of their work and coming with their work to the conference. Also, people from industries. So these different dimensions of sectors that participated, they actually enriched the whole experience. In addition to that, the EdC, the environment that EdC created in the conference, it also made the participants more stick together as a community of EdTech contributors.
Uh,
A little
one
energy was slightly more.
Yeah, one reason for asking this question is if it is a one-off improvement, then in 2024 you will see a drop, right? Because it is coming after 3 years, people come with a vengeance, waiting to report, and they may not have. So that is one way to look at it. The other one is to say that the EdTech activity in the country has actually gone up across institutions, NGOs, and educational institutions, companies, and so on. If that is the case, then it should actually go up. Okay, so that will give an idea of how this is moving.
Yeah.
So you said that the number 4 in T4E, now it is not just for, it is it is also for off, in, and across.
Yeah.
So how is that translated into the call for papers, or is it just the themes, or is it going to change the way you would judge the papers? How is it going to? Because it won't happen just by telling. It is not just for, it is for also for off, in, across.
Yeah. So I think breaking down it into 4 components and explicitly stating these 4 components make it more clear for the authors. For example, when you say technology for education, I mean, you need to explain to the audience, to the researchers, that we are not just asking for some technology that you create and evaluate to improve some educational outcomes, but we also want to know insights of the technologies, on insights of how learners learn, those learning science perspectives. So it's not just the traditional view of technology, but also different aspects of technology as a strategy, technology as the digital tools, technology which happens within which happens at the cognitive level within an individual. So all those aspects we wanted to cover through these 4 explicit keywords.
So do you expect more participation, larger participation by broad basing this? What is the objective of this?
Yeah, we wanted to make it more comprehensive. So like just technology for education is not the thing that is needed for a tech domain, right? We also want to know how education works. What's the technology of education, right? We also want to know that how people learn. So what kind of technology that mind incorporates, for example, right? So if someone is coming up with understanding how mind work, how learning happens, some new findings on these, we would also be happy to accept those things. So just to break those boundaries or the notions which pre-exist with the term technology for education.
Okay, I have questions also on the new themes. You mentioned culture and technology.
Yeah.
By that, I want to know whether you mean culture of education, culture of technology, or are you actually talking about arts, culture, artisans? What do you mean by this word culture? It could have different connotations. What do you mean by this?
Yeah. So this is really a very important question. See, from culture, what we primarily intend is to emphasize on the fact that culture to culture, the need for different edtech innovations is there. So an edtech in American or some Western context versus an edtech in Indian context are two different things, right? So how culture impacts the need for education, how culture can ask you to do newer investigations. Those are the things that this is the first thing that we want to we intend to say with culture. So there's a very tight, very close relationship between which culture the learner is coming from, and then what kind of edtech you want to create for the learners.
One of the things the society could consider doing is to bring in people from different cultures. If it becomes a platform for people from different cultures to work together and give a comparative study and things like that, that will be very useful. If you can do that,
Yeah.
that will be very relevant to this. The other one I have is democracy, technology, and education. So, what do you mean by that?
So
Is democracy is because I thought you mean democratic way of learning or dictatorial way of learning. What does this word democracy convey?
yeah, so here the intention is to emphasize on the educational, mostly formal as well as informal education that can help build better citizenry, right? So uh, till now we have been focusing on engineering education only, right? Now can we expand this to contribute with edtech towards enriching the democracies? So what kind of training, educational technology that is needed to make people a better citizen? That's one of the intention.
So why democracy? Why not dictatorship? Because it will help in the dictatorship also. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
I want to
we
know why democracy? Why the word democracy? That's
we
not clear.
completely welcome a paper that can argue between the two and state and evaluate that, okay, this mindset versus that mindset, and this is how the I mean some educational technology behind it, and this is how the two mindsets, democratic or non-democratic, can impact the well-being. And it also closely related to SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, right? So where we talk about human flourishing, human well-being. So how edtech and education can contribute to human well-being, human flourishing, and one of the subsets is democracy and other related topics. But we wanted to more explicitly state that as one of the themes.
No, I wonder whether democracy has some other connotation here. That is why I'm asking this question. So, anyway, it's very nice. Wish you all the best for the
Thank you very much.
T4E.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so it looks like it's my turn. And before I begin, I must say, to the viewers that at IIT Bombay, we have a concept called Annual Progress Seminar, which every PhD student is expected to give. And there will be a progress committee which evaluates, has this person done enough progress, should they be allowed to go ahead and all. And Kannan's questions have actually reminded many of us of these APSs, and very sharp questions. Thank you very much for that, Kannan. And I will actually address some of the questions which were out of scope for some of the chairs. So before that, let me just talk about a few initiatives. One is, we have tied up with NPTEL Plus. So NPTEL Plus and EdTech Society are now co-certifying some courses, and many of these courses are in the EdTech domain. So for example, next weekend, I'm offering this course on how to guide postgraduate students in their research. So which is something which a lot of colleges are now needing, because a lot of postgraduate work is happening. Followed by Briju is offering a course on Introduction to Instructional Design. And our hope is that, through this mechanism, we will create a entire, almost like a diploma in EdTech, which could be certified by EdTech Society and NPTEL Plus, and not wait for, IITs to start more such programs. Next slide, please. Okay, so the other big thing that we are doing is also affiliation with other organizations. So AECT is the American Educational Communication Technology Association. So we have an affiliation with them. It's very close. And in 2025, there is going to be a summer international research symposium in Kochi. So Briju has been instrumental in bringing this. This was actually supposed to happen before COVID. When Briju was at the other end, he was with AECT. So now he is with EdTech Society, and it's happening. Then we are also starting this institutional membership. So the membership committee is actually working very hard to figure out, what is the benefit, like what you had asked, what is the benefit to different members? What is the benefit to student members? What's the benefit to professionals? So we are also figuring out what is the benefit to institutional members, and we are starting that. We are also to becoming an affiliate for a couple of other societies. I mean, there are talks are in progress, like the International Society of Learning Sciences and the Asia Pacific Society for Computers in Education. Next slide, please. Okay, so there are a number of policies which are coming up. I think I will not go through all these details. One of the things that we do want to do is elections, and we will be creating an election committee, and maybe by end of this year or next year, the committee will come up with guidelines for how to do elections, who can be part of a committee, who can be a chair, and who can be in the executive committee, and so on. And a number of policies have been defined, a number of such as the structure of the organization, how to handle requests, how to manage the internships, and so on. So all of these are almost refined, and they will appear on the website shortly. Next slide, please. Okay, so now this is the hot seat critique. Before more questions, let me address a few questions which you have already asked. So you started off with asking, is there an underlying theme or focus area for these master classes? Okay, so the honest answer is no, we did not have it, because when we started in the first year, our goal was just to get off the ground. Somebody whom we knew was a reliable speaker on an interesting topic, and we would say, okay, you're going to do a master class, and that's how we started going off the ground. Then we slowly started getting organized, and we started doing panel discussions. For example, this year we are doing the annual day in this format, where we have a chief guest who is critiquing our work. In the last year, what we did was we had a panel discussion on an interesting topic. So we are now getting our act together in terms of forming teams and deciding where we want to go, forming special interest groups. AI in education is a big one. What are policies? How do we come up with policies? What is ethical use? So all those questions and themes are now beginning to be debated now that there are about 300 members in the society. So that was one of the questions that you had asked. Another question that you asked was what percentage of the operating cost is covered by the membership? Okay, so that is again, right now, we have not looked for sponsorship from anywhere. I mean, as a deliberate choice, because we want to have everything in place so that, once we take sponsorship, we become accountable to deliver at that rate. So right now, we just want to make sure that everything is in place and we can deliver what we commit before we seek sponsorship or some kind of philanthropic donation or something like that. So right now we are kind of breaking even from whatever money that has come from T4E and the membership. So just to give you an idea of last year's finances, I think the total expenses was in the range of 10 lakhs and what we income and expenses, and what we have left over is 10,000 rupees. So 10,000 rupees is what we are carrying forward from financial year, from the previous financial year into this financial year. So that was another question that you had asked. And yeah, one last point which I wanted to mention was about this T4E. So you asked about growth of T4E and numbers and so on. So one thing that is happening is that while we have been running T4E for 10 years, ACM India has also started a compute conference that is for CS faculty who are in looking at education. So many of these faculty overlap with our T4E audience, because many of the CS faculty earlier used to be part of T4E. So now what we are doing is we are kind of coordinating better with compute. So this year in IIT Gandhinagar, both T4E and compute will be co-located. So the first 2 days are compute. There are 2 days in between which are joint and so on. So what we are hoping to achieve is that there will be a good cross pollination, and papers which are fitting better in compute will go to compute, which will go to T4E and so on. So that is one way we are also trying to grow the entire community in the country. So that is my part of adding to the answers to the questions that you asked already. Now, if you feel free to ask me broader, bigger questions, more difficult ones, all of that is okay.
I will do that. But before that, some of the other do you want to add to this democracy thing? Is there anything, or would you go by what
So I think Shitanshu is our resident expert on this, so I often kind of go to Shitanshu for opinions on this topic. I mean, he is with UNESCO, and I think that, so I would defer to his judgment on that topic.
Okay, so that means it's I think it still has to evolve. I would suspect, which is fine. So the other I have I have a suggestion. One of the things that probably the EdTech Society should consider doing is, is to also to look at some of the special situation that we find ourselves in, our students, our colleges, and there is an aspiration to do a lot better and things like that. So, for example, we have a need to provide internship to a lot of students. We have a requirement to provide FTP to lots of teachers. And lots of teachers have to go for higher studies. For example, many of them don't have PhD. Many of them would want to do that. So, and then there are also other requirements like raising the levels of education per se. For example, NEP. And associated with that is, for example, language translation giving in all languages for people who are not fluent in English and things like that. So all these things require large scale efforts, and so I wonder whether right now what happens is it gets consumed, if I'm not mistaken. Scale up is actually very important. For other countries, it is not so important. Other developed countries, for example, but for our country, it is a lot more important. So I would, in fact, say, can you have a separate focus on scale up itself? Right? Because right now it gets consumed as one of the three things, and it goes in passing, which may be okay for other countries, but here I think you have probably an extra obligation that you could probably fulfill, and that will be very helpful. And also, one of the other things is motivation. Whether that can be considered through educational games, through competitions, because you do have people from psychology, philosophy, and so on coming together with the technology developers. In fact, that's how you assess the effectiveness of the technology per se, through liberal arts, people who are good in psychology, technology, philosophy, and things like that. So their role actually could be even it can be sharpened, for example, given a better role. So I would ask this. So I'm making 2 points. One is the scale up itself as a focused area, because that will be important for our country. And what are the different efforts that people are doing, and possibly help them. For example, it is possible that I see this as a difference between let's say theory and practice. For example, in some areas theory is very much advanced, but practice is at a very low level, some engineering fields. Whereas in a field like computer science, it is neck to neck, for example, even perhaps in electrical engineering, for example. Whereas in some other areas, the industry may be at a very rudimentary level, whereas the research happens in a much higher level. So I would say in education technology, it is possible that because of the various compulsions, for example, NEP, we are saying, we have rolled out many things. Everybody seems to be doing something, but there is no support per se. The theory is not very well developed. Similarly, it may happen in, let's say, eYantra, it may happen in spoken tutorial, it may happen in T10KT and things like that. And then NPTEL, Swayam Prabha. Because those things are required. At the same time, they can do a lot better if some theoretical support can be provided. So I would say that can be considered as one of the things that EdTech Society, if you do that, it is going to be helpful, because these activities have come up to address a need. There is a big vacuum, and so they are doing it. So it will be a useful thing if that can be done. So that is one thing I am talking about. Scale up itself can be considered as a as a focused area. Right now it comes as one of the three things. Scale up comes with two other things. So just that's a thought process. The other one is the you want to answer that first, because
sure, I can respond to your point. So with respect to the scale up, so there, which is supposed to be created as part of the NEP. Okay. So what we are doing in EdTech Society is a very small version of that forum itself. That is the purpose that this society is serving. So, and right now, we are being very careful about the scale up, because scale up is a full-time job. And right now, all of us have other full-time jobs, and we are doing this on a part-time basis. So The moment we say, okay, we are going to scale, we have to go after getting some funding, hiring people, all of that will need to be done.
Let me correct the thing. I'm not saying that EdTech Society should do that. EdTech Society could support people who are already doing it. And
yes, definitely. So
and
that's the second point that I'm coming to. So when we looked at projects like eYantra and Spoken Tutorial in the past, we were looking at it from the angle of what is the PhD level problems that can be that these platforms can support. So we did find a few, right? I mean, we have a few students who did their PhD on Spoken Tutorial. We currently have a few who are doing on eYantra and so on. But the point that you made that there are smaller theories, other smaller theoretical insights that can come out of looking at these projects. I think that is a very important point. And to be frank, I have not thought about it yet. So thank you for making that point. And
not
we will
even
think
theory.
about it.
I'm saying that EdTech Society can actually support these activities.
Yes,
and
yes.
It may result in theory. It may result because I recall you saying that whenever you go to any conference in the West or something, you will have 20 data points, whereas we have a lot more points and so on. So these activities can benefit quite a bit by inputs from EdTech Society. That's the point I'm making. Okay, so just think about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe one of the activities that we are planning to start in the next year is to have conclaves, of focused people. So one conclave that we are considering is to call like VCs of positively biased universities and talk about them starting EdTech departments in their universities. So that is one conclave. We could do another conclave where we call PIs of such large projects, and in a meeting try to figure out how is it that EdTech Society can work with or support their efforts. So yeah, both your points are well taken.
And when you talk to the VC, it may be better to tell them instead of asking whether they are doing EdTech, because then the number of people will be very few. I mean, initially you could do that, but to broaden it, it is better to say that in what ways can we help? You have a large university, lots of people.
Okay.
That you are offering to help, and so they come and tell what their problems are and how they are trying to achieve good quality in spite of increasing. I'll just give a number. At one time, I told one vice chancellor or some person about the problems in the hostel. For example, your food can be improved, for example, which is a broader comment. So this person said, do you know that we have to make 20,000 dosas? We cannot give good quality dosa. I'm just giving an example, but this was just an example in the mess. But it could be in some other thing, conducting exams, or how because some of these universities conduct the exam over a long period, 1.5 months, which is a big drain on the students. If there is a way some of these logistics can be helped, it may not come as EdTech per se, but people who can address these issues. So it will be good if they can be, because if you do that, I think that will be very helpful. Then this activity will increase enormously.
Yeah.
So that is
Thanks
one thing.
for
The
this.
other thing was the motivation is what I talked about, whether it is hackathon, games, things like that. Is there a role for EdTech in these things? Because I remember one additional secretary with whom I flew from Delhi to Bombay. She, had a long time to discuss. She was saying that school education, we have to convert all of them into games or videos or animations. I mean, she was expressing an extreme viewpoint. She was an additional secretary in Ministry of Education. So we don't have to take everything. We can take that with a pinch of salt. But nevertheless, there is a point that, of course, Western societies are concerned about motivation in engineering and so on, which is not a major problem here. People who want to do this, But nevertheless, if we can do this, maybe dropout rates can come down. Our dropout rates are very high in schools, for example. So can we think about doing something in that, and possibly even automating some of these things, games and stuff like that. Whether it comes under EdTech or not, that itself I don't know, but it is something that there is a um, I would say sweet spot for EdTech Society.
Yeah, so I agree with your comment that we have to look at these games and other technologies for learning. And see, one of the things that we have done on a small scale is we did do an EdTech hackathon once, and it did work out well. So we have to now start doing these things, so the fan out of the activities of the society will slowly go on increasing, right? So one hackathon will come every year, one something or the other we will be doing. And even on the motivation, so I must tell you that there is one of the EdTech Society members, Harsh Doshi. He is actually working on motivating teachers, as part of his startup. So he was working with us at IITB, and now he is independently doing something. So there are people, individuals here and there. A lot of NGOs are working on these tasks, and one of the things that we are going to take up soon is how to network all these people. And I think one of the things that we lack in India is a place where everybody can get the information. So many NGOs kind of rediscover or repeat mistakes made by other NGOs elsewhere. So how we can do that? So we will try to create other events, maybe a annual symposium or something, which is not a research event, but where these NGOs can come together, share knowledge, and talk about various things. So
About the hackathon, I was actually talking about not about EdTech Society per se doing hackathon, but hackathons are done in some sense, to improve the levels of working, to improve the motivation, to improve, for example, the FOSSI project is now doing an animation competition, right? Where they have to learn something and they have to do a storytelling. And we expect 5,000 teams. Already there are about 4,000 teams that are participating, and we are making an effort to increase the number. My question is, how does one find whether the learning is good or not? Is it because the potential seems to be good, because they motivate, they come together, and they work, during a short period and so on. But these, FOSSI is doing it, but FOSSI is not geared up to do this. Similarly, eYantra might be doing it. So I'm saying that it will be good if EdTech Society can think about coming up with, even this kind of a critique, for example, to say that, okay, you're doing this, maybe you should have done this. Something like that is something useful for both, because some of these activities have a large viewership, and it will also be a way to promote EdTech because EdTech is a new society. You would want to go to larger number of people. So I think it will be mutually beneficial.
Yes,
that's the point.
I agree with that. I completely agree with that. And EdTech Society partnering with FOSSI or with eYantra. So this is a great idea, and I will talk to you separately about that. How we can do, and what can EdTech Society contribute, and what is that the visibility that we get in conversation on that. Thanks for the idea.
So those are
so maybe in the interest of time, I will kind of stop speaking. Maybe you can give a broader vision, or some more direction that you would like to give to us, and then we can go into the next phase of the event.
Okay, I have already given some inputs. One of the things that I have been working on is scaling up. So I would just want to say a few points in this. We started, so I would So there are two projects that I'm working on. One is spoken tutorial, the other is FOSSEE. In spoken tutorial, we started with IT training to train the bottom 90% of the pyramid. For that, we created tutorials suitable for self-learning. In fact, we guaranteed that by doing a novice check of the script itself. I believe that this could be a PhD topic for some people. How do we guarantee? Can it be guaranteed? Is it a good enough approach, for example? Then dubbed it into local languages and made it usable offline. And then, of course, we focused only on open source software so that it is accessible to everybody. Providing access is the biggest objective of this. Covering as many people as possible is the mandate of this project. And we have kind of succeeded. We have trained about 82 lakh students. We train about 8 lakh students a year. And until 2018, we were doing it general because the ministry was funding. After that, because the ministry required us to raise some funds, we started doing it only for people who sponsor, who subscribe to our activity. We have a very small subscription fee, which was a good thing because in 2020, the government stopped funding and saying that there are, of course, it was because of COVID, but later on there are other activities. So it is a good thing we are able to support this activity through the subscription from colleges. We have about 700 plus colleges that are subscribing to spoken tutorials. Now, later on, we extended it to health and nutrition. And health and nutrition, once again, the same thing, that created for self-learning, guaranteed for self-learning, usable offline, dubbed into local languages. And that became very helpful when our health team went to train ASHA and Anganwadi workers, for example. And the results are enormous, very beneficial, because the nutrition, the health of newborns is something very important. In fact, it is very bad in India. And we are doing it through IAS district administration, that is the IAS officers. One assistant collector, Meenal Karanwal IAS, actually wrote about this after rolling it out in Nandurbar. Nandurbar is a tribal district in Maharashtra. It is the worst in Maharashtra and second worst in India. She said that newborns gain only 12 grams a day weight gain, whereas the National Nutrition Mission recommends 28 grams. Whereas mothers trained using spoken tutorial, ASHA Anganwadi workers and mothers who are benefited by this training program, their weight gains are 2 to 3 times, 25 to 35 to 40 grams, and sometimes even 40 grams, which means that they are benefiting. And in fact, the National Nutrition Mission's standard itself may have to be revised. One has to have that way. It is very effective, and we are exploring it for other skills topics. One other area about FOSSEE, the difference between some of the other programs and FOSSEE is we are training students to the level that they themselves can contribute. And so that is the difference. And it is going quite well. It is still funded by the Ministry of Education. So with that, I will stop just to give an overview of some of the things that we are doing. And over to you, Briju.
Thank you, Professor Kannan. Thank you very much. So let me bring our Vice President, Dr. Sahana Murthy, to the stage, so to give the Volunteer Service Award.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, Sahana.
Okay, so this is really a pleasurable task, because we have so many volunteers who have worked countless hours in contributing to the society, in making sure that the society runs smoothly, that it grows, and so on. So we have particularly recognized a few people who've gone above and beyond. And Briju, next slide, please. So the first is Nagesh Pokle, who has been a graphic design volunteer. I think I'll just say all the names and then we can give a big round of applause to all of them. Sandeep Yadav, who has been the volunteer for virtual events. Ramdas Rai, who's been event and certification volunteer. And Vivek Sabanwar, who's been the volunteer to keep the Etsy website going. Sugat Dabholkar, who has been a volunteer with the program committee. He did a few interviews with in the events. Krishna Kant Roy, who's also been a program committee volunteer. He's also done interviews and really contributed there. Nandan PA, who's been a volunteer to in terms of conducting a few week-long action research workshop for potential T4E authors, thereby bringing up the quality of the whole conference. And next slide, please. Devesh Singh, who has been one of the T4E 2023 conference managers, along with Rajeshri Priyadarshini, another student volunteer who's been T4E 2023 conference manager. Okay, so before we go on to the larger vote of thanks, let's give a big round of applause to all these volunteers, students, faculty, professionals, and everyone, because of whom the society is really has done really well in the second year. Okay, yeah. So let me also go on to the broader vote of thanks. It's really a pleasure and an honor for me to be doing this. And let me start with today's event and begin with by thanking Professor Kannan. So Kannan, we really appreciate the inputs you gave, the ideas, the suggestions, the sharp questions you raised, and also the critiques. I'm sure this will really help in strengthening our society. A big thanks also to all of today's participants. Your presence, your participation on the YouTube chat, that's appreciated. That made the event lively. And of course, to the entire organizing team who worked hard behind the scenes. If we think back to the entire year, there's a lot of people who we need to thank. Those who have contributed their knowledge and efforts to the society and enriched it throughout the year by taking a lead in the events. For example, the instructors in the master classes, the panelists and interviewees who appeared and gave their time and just their whole, generously talked about their views about educational technology and how we can improve learning in the country. People from industry, and then college teachers and even students. All of you have shared your insights, and thanks for making all those events really lively and interesting. Our gratitude also goes to the dozens of people who made T4E 2023 a big success. As we heard earlier, it was one of the big flagship events for us. There were several managers, student volunteers, some of whom we recognized, and also all of you, the members themselves, who have joined the society. So in T4E, a lot of people came, they became members of the EdTech Society, and that's how we are at 300 plus today. And finally, to make sure that the society runs smoothly and for contributing, your creative ideas and countless hours of efforts, we really need to thank all the people who have been working hard in a voluntary role. All the chairs and members of the committees, we saw some of the chairs present today, the executive committee members, several other volunteers, and I'm going to conclude by thanking Dr. Briju Thankachan, our executive director, who's also, sort of the rock behind all of it, spending all his time in making EdTech Society where it is today. So thanks, everyone, and good evening to you all. Back to you, Briju.
Thank you, everyone. So we are ending the live stream. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, bye.